hiking the John Muir Trail. I use a ULA circuit, so it's a very simple backpack. There's no brain and there's not a lot of pockets. The biggest obstacle of packing your backpack when you're on the John Muir Trail is that you have to carry a bear canister. So the method that I'm going to show you here is the way that I found works best for me for getting my beer can and my sleeping bag into the pack while keeping everything that I need accessible during the day. So first of all, I use a pack liner instead of a bunch of little stuff sacks. This is a Sea to Summit Ultra Seal pack liner, but you can just use a garbage compactor bag. I only bought this because when I started backpacking, I was in Japan and they don't have garbage compactor bags out there. To get the pack liner into my pack, it's easier if I put something in it first. So that was my sleeping pad. And that just gets my whole pack liner into the pack. So next I would just drop my pillow in, and notice neither the sleeping pad or the pillow are in the stuff sacks that they came with. So here's my sleeping bag, and that's the next thing. I just stuff it loosely in there. And when I'm done doing that, it looks like the sleeping bag basically takes up my entire pack. But we're gonna smush it down with the bear can. So the bear can is the biggest and heaviest thing that you're probably gonna bring. So I'm gonna drop it right in the middle of the pack. But before I do that, so usually when I was packing up or actually making breakfast in the morning, I would take out the food that I was going to eat during that day and put it in a Ziploc bag. And besides food, you also have to put your smellies in the bear can overnight. So in the morning, I would take out my sunblock and lip balm, and then put away the rest of my toiletries, which is basically just toothbrush, toothpaste, and some moisturizer. Imagine this is full of food. Another trick that I learned on the trail was to not fully close up your bear can. When you pack it, it's just gonna make it easier. If I really want to get to those gummy bears that I didn't take out in the morning, not locking my beer canister is going to make it easier for me to get to them. Just smush out all the air in my sleeping bag with the bear can. And the sleeping bag has disappeared. Then I will pack my down puppy. So I stick it on one side of the bear canister. And then I'm going to pack all the rest of my clothes on the other side. So this is my clothing bag. It's a lightweight Tyvek bag that came with some other bags I bought. But I don't keep the clothes in here when I pack it into my backpack. I'm gonna dump them out. So I basically brought this bag, and I like to be organized. So I brought this bag so that when I unpack my bag, my clothes aren't just hanging around the floor of my tent, and I can put them back in here. So these are the exact clothes that I brought on the trail. I'm wearing the exact hiking outfit that I wore every day when I was hiking. So I have long hiking pants, long sleeve sun hoodie, and a lightweight fleece. And I packed another a wool t-shirt for extra hiking shirt, and I packed, sacred sleeping clothes. These are 200 weight wool long johns and a Uniqlo long sleeve undershirt, as well as a pair of sacred sleeping socks that I never hiked in. And I did bring this camp towel along, which I really only used when I was showering off trail. I never really used it on trail. But all of this stuff just goes into my pack on the other side of my bear can. And then the clothing sack also goes in here. And then what else do I want to pack in that pack liner? I want to just put away all the things that I don't need during the day when I'm hiking. So I have a little baggie of electronics. There is a little anchor battery in here, my extra batteries for my headlamp, earphones, and a charging cable for my phone. I brought this little lightweight backpack that's super packable. I used it to summit Mount Whitney, and I also used it to carry my journal and water around camp, so I could go somewhere and sun myself and do those kind of things without having to carry this whole backpack. I don't need that when I'm hiking, so I put it in there with the rest of the stuff that I want to keep dry. And I close up my pack liner. I have a little zipper pocket that hangs out the top of my pack. So in here, I put a few small items, and these items would generally just stay in here the entire hike. I take them out and use them and put them back. The first item is my little wallet, which is a zippy pocket from Daiso. Cost me 100 yen. There's a few dollars in here along with my credit card and an ID, my driver's license. Got a Sharpie with some duct tape wrapped around it. My compass. Swiss Army knife. And headlamp. So all this stuff kind of just sits at the top of my pack and is really readily available. So my pack liner, if you see here, is not quite big enough for my pack. So I had a couple extra items that I wanted to make sure don't get wet if it rains on me, but didn't fit in there, but that I also wanted to keep on the top of my pack and be readily available to me during the day. And those were my guidebook. I carried the Elizabeth Wank book the entire trail. It was super worth it. And my journal. First aid kit. And then I put my little warm items in there. If it was cold, I would of course put these on. If it wasn't cold, I would put them in my little dry bag here. This is my daytime dry bag. And then next to that, I would stash my cook set. So if I had room in my bear can, this would go inside the bear can to stay with all of my other food things. But at the beginning of my hike, it just sat on top of this. Doesn't need to be waterproof, so that's why it's there. And then my food for the day, sitting on the top. And that would be what I would put in this main compartment of my bag in the morning. So if you look at my pack, I've got plenty of room. It's not super full or anything. I didn't use any of the room in this like neck part of my pack. Later in the day, I would usually pack my tent inside and it would take up a little bit of room, but it definitely like still compresses a lot. So the rest of the items are kind of things that hang out on the outside of my pack. So my sunblock and lip balm would go in one of these hip belt pockets, along with my shit kit, which is just some hand sani and toilet paper. In my other hip belt pocket, I would usually stick a couple candy bars or other snacks for like eating and walking. And I'd stash my potty trowel just out here, along with my extra water bag. Bug head net. I've used this instead of insect repellent for like 2 summers now, and it's been great. So as you can see, like I like to hike in long sleeves, long pants, sun protection and bug protection. These are my rain pants. They're kind of the only thing that's actually in their little stuff sack, and that's because they're super fragile and I stick them on the outside of my pack. So my rain jacket, I would actually usually be wearing while I was packing. So when I start packing and I take off my down puffy and pack it into my pack, I usually put this on instead to keep me warm. So this is one of the last things I always pack. I've got my water filter and my Sawyer squeeze bag that I use to collect water, and I put them in one of these side pockets. And I put my water bottle on the other side. The rest of the stuff, my hat, just put it on my head, along with my sunglasses. And I did carry this sunglass case on the trail because I knew I would crush and destroy my sunglasses otherwise when I wasn't wearing them. So those just go in there. I have this bandana for snot wiping, sweat wiping, cook pot wiping. That would just be bungeed right here for easy access. These are my extra socks and extra underwear. I had 2 pairs of socks and 2 underwear for the trail, and I would always be wearing one and washing the other one. So for the socks, I attach them together with a safety pin, and I just dangle them off of my pack. And for my dirty underwear, I ended up putting it here. It's not too obvious it's an underwear, but this would remind me that I had a dirty underwear, that I had to wash it, and then it would allow it to dry. So, last things I would pack, camp shoes, probably be wearing these as long as possible. This is a trick that I learned from my mountaineering course in New Zealand. Basically, you make little loops of cord through the holes in your cracks. That way you can attach them to your bag with a carabiner. And so usually I would pack up like everything and then take down my tent. So the tent would be the last thing I would pack. Just put it on the top here. And I would also strap this thin light foam pad on the top of my packed tent. So this foam pad was a great yoga mat. I'd usually hike for about an hour, and then when the sun came up and it was warm, I would do sun salutations in the sun. So my ground sheet would go in with the water filter kind of stuff. The tent stakes just tucked into my mesh pocket here. So I'd usually be wearing my rain jacket when I started hiking. And then, you know, like when I warmed up, I would just tuck it into the bungee cords on the outside of my pack. And if I warmed up more, this green fleece would also get strapped to the outside of my bag. And that is how I packed up everything on the JMT. And of course I had my trekking poles. So that was all of the stuff that I brought on the JMT and how I packed it up. Thanks for watching.